From the beautiful studios in majestic and gorgeous, what a beautiful day, Garden City.
Amazing day, baseball weather.
I know, it's baseball, it's back.
It's in full swing, no pun intended.
This is WHPC Sports Talk. You are listening live and local on 90.3 WHPC or around the globe on the iHeartRadio app and on www.nccradio.org. Yes, it is true that today is April Fool's Day. Yes, it is true that it is important to tell pranks and do things to people that you wouldn't otherwise do. But this is not an April Fool's Day joke. In a few moments, Ron Darling from the New York Mets broadcasting booth will be joining us live on air, and you have the pleasure of enjoying that interview. So, Eric, let me tell you something. First, let me introduce him. Eric Fischetti's alongside us.
Hey, Nick. How are you, buddy?
Thank you so much. Ross Levine.
Hello.
And, of course, Dan Morales.
You know who it is.
Thank you so much. I'm Nick Ohrnberger. And, guys, without any further ado, if I had a drum roll sounder, I would have put it up already. But without any further ado, let's introduce him. So, joining us now, the former Mets right-hander and color commentator for national baseball coverage on TBS, and of course, for the Mets TV broadcasts on SNY and Pix Network, author of the book, 108 Stitches, out tomorrow wherever books are sold, a new friend of our show, Ron Darling. Ron, how is the new Mets season treating you?
Oh, it's treating me great. Thank you guys for having me on. And anytime I hear the former Mets right-hander, it always makes me laugh. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, you are one of the staples of that '86 Mets team. So I can't, you're not that far from being a player. It hasn't been that long. So to me, I still associate you with a pitching rotation. You know.
Yeah, I wish that were true, but we're further and further away from. When I sign pictures of me playing, I always look at it and say it looks exactly like my son's. So it's a very strange world to live in, but always very proud of my time with the Orange and Blue.
I mean, as you should be. And speaking of the orange and blue, the new wave of New York Mets, Pete Alonso is introducing himself quite nicely. Mm-hmm. Jeff McNeil, we're going to see a full year out of him. Cano comes back to New York. First off, what are your thoughts so far? Only through one series, I get it, but what is your thoughts so far of the Mets season?
Well, I don't think you could be any happier, even though they lost on the last day, the great comeback to get even against the closer. When I played, we used to always mark those games. Even if you didn't win those games, you marked them when you did some damage to their closer. So that means something probably down the road. You couldn't be happier because you have a combination of older players that can still play, Ramos and, of course, Cano. But you also have this great young exuberance of McNeils and Alonsos and others that I think are just really shaped the team up in a nice way. So you don't know what's going to happen over the summer. You know, they've got great starting pitching. Their bullpen, we'll see how it goes. They definitely are better than they were last year, or at least revamped it. But I just really, really enjoy to see this. Every team in baseball that's good has young, everyday players in their lineup, and the Mets are starting to get some in there themselves.
Absolutely, and we're talking to Ron Darling right here live on WHPC Sports Talk on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Let's talk about, that's the good stuff. That's the great stuff. And, of course, obviously, the terrific showing you got out of Jacob deGrom, Game 1. Mickey Callaway and some of the decision-making, albeit that first game, it worked out, subbing in Seth Lugo for Jacob deGrom. Broxton for Michael Conforto had a few people scratching heads. It turns out to work, but some of the decision-making, do you think this is still some just kind of tweaking things, seeing what kind of team he has, or is Mickey Callaway a mad genius?
I think it's a combination of a few things, and the most important being is that the relationship under pressure in regular season games of Riggleman and Callaway working together, I think it's a thing I'm going to be really looking at. Callaway, wants to make his mark. He's got a guy that can really help, and I think the lines of communication and how quickly they come to decisions is something that I'm going to really be interested to watch. and does it evolve or change over time? I think that's another interesting thing to evolve. Listen, this game, more than any time in the history of the game, you got to be able to run a bullpen. You can't run a bullpen, you can't manage in the major leagues, and those are the moves I think that are the most important. Yes, changing the guy defensively, that's a good move. Pinch running for a guy, that's a move. Double switching is a move, but taking out one pitcher to bring someone else in is the most important move.
Now, you touched on it a little bit. You mentioned Jim Riggleman. Now, that was one of the most underrated moves that I believe that the Mets did this offseason in getting a guy that's been there in terms of a managerial spot for Mickey Callaway, because, his first-time manager, long-time pitching guru, pitching coach with the Indians, who you kind of figured was going to help out this Mets rotation with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Vargas, Matz, Wheeler. You figured he was going to help him, but the fact that Jim Riggleman was brought in, I believe that speaks volumes of him as to guide Mickey Callaway through the season. What do you think about that hire?
I think it's going to be a collaboration where he's going to really be able to help, and I think his biggest selling point for Jim is that he's a National League guy through and through, so he knows the game. Many more moves to make in the National League than you have to make in the American League, and for a number of years. So I think his age and his experience can only help Mickey, and let's hope together they can collaborate on moves and that Mickey can pick the right ones.
I was also just going to ask, I know it's only been 3 games, but what are the moves with Cali that you've liked and what you haven't liked so far?
There's been a couple. I like the switching on defense. I think Alonso, until he gets more experience, Dominic Smith is much a better player. I would have switched out Broxton for Nimmo.
Not Conforto. Conforto has to play 150 games for me because he's that kind of transformative player. I think I would have pinch run for Wilson Ramos in the game when the game was tied. I know they only have 2 catchers, but it was a chance to go ahead. They ended up going ahead and scoring a ton of runs anyways. And I think the one I was a little skeptical of is that, I have this pet peeve is that we're always worried about the starting pitchers and taking care of them and making sure they don't get injured, but we leave the relievers in there to die. And
Well, and we're talking to Ron Darling. Ron, we're having a couple of technical difficulties. We're gonna give you a call right back as we're gonna take a very, very short break here. We'll be right back with more Ron Darling right after this break. We apologize for that, but hey, this is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Ohrnberger, Dan Morales, Eric Fischettit, everybody in the building today. We'll be back in just a moment, so please stick around.
Every sound, every note, including the bass, on this track is played by a monkey.
American Hit Radio, Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
We're back with more WHPC Sports Talk, and we are joined by the legendary Ron Darling. Ron, are you still with us?
I am with you. Yes.
Yeah, we had a little bit of thing. Essentially, you sounded like a Terminator robot. So we got you back sounding like yourself. So that's good. Last question.
I don't know. Maybe I am a Terminator robot.
Well, Ron, my last real question is the rotation. It obviously isn't perfect. I mean, Jacob deGrom was fantastic. Zach Wheeler and Syndergaard, 4 runs given up their first outings. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't terrible. My question is, do you think this is something too early in the season to get up in arms about it? Or Syndergaard seems to have been a relatively, especially over the last couple of years, a slow starter, and his health has been a concern. Wheeler, we saw how electric he was down the line last year. Do you think this rectifies itself, or is it cause for concern?
No cause for concern. It'll rectify itself. I don't think I would ever, if I were a manager, I would never judge a pitcher's first start. First starts are strange. They're nerve-wracking. You spend all day anticipating the moment. Once you get into a role and you start making starts every fifth day, it becomes a somewhat routine. So until they're in a routine, I don't really judge their routine. And it's not like Syndergaard and Wheeler were awful. Wheeler made one bad pitch to Trey Turner, and Syndergaard with the home run given up to Robles. So I think as the first start goes, they were strong. I think more importantly, Syndergaard, Wheeler, and DeGrom are going to be great. My eyes are going to be on the left-handers, Matz and Vargas, because a lot of times when you have a good rotation, or at least a good top of the rotation, how well those guys at the bottom do. And if you're not going to have both guys do well, you need at least one to be great.
We're talking to Ron Darling, SNY and Picks broadcaster for the New York Mets. Ron, let's get on to the book, because we have a copy of it in studio here. We all can't wait to really delve into it, but we've already got a chance to really kind of get into your mind about all the people you've been connected with through your history in baseball. 108 Stitches, Loose Threads, Ripping Yarns, and the darndest characters from my time in the game, written by Ron Darling. My first question is, it comes out tomorrow at wherever books are sold. Do you? This is your third book. Do you still get nervous, around the time a new book gets released, new content about you gets released, or is it just kind of fun to do it?
No, well, it's fun to do it. I think it gets you get a little nervous because the books are like your children. Like
yes.
your debutante children. You're releasing them to the world, and so, you always want a good response if you can get one. But I think the process of writing a book, anyone who's done it, is the most enjoyable part, because you're trying to really put together this jigsaw puzzle of information that you have in your brain. And, for me, 108 stitches is how many stitches it takes to make a baseball. And I had probably close to 200 stories that I whittled down to 108, and hoping that each one is tied to the other, so it forms not only a good book at the end, just like 108 Stitches forms a good baseball.
Now, Ron, just sticking in the terms of the book, plenty of characters you've met over your time in the game. Two of them really come to mind. That's Doc and Darryl. So what impact did they have on not only your life in the game, but just your career in general?
Well, the impact that they had on my career is just the ability to watch their greatness at such a young age. And, of course, the disappointment, not in them, disappointment in what they went through as addicts and trying to fight their way through that. We had a great ball club. We lost Doc and Dwight for a significant amount of time because of the disease that they had. And, so it was a unique relationship. I always thought when they first came up that Dwight was going to have kind of Roger Clemens' career, and Darryl was going to have Barry Bonds' career. I mean, that's the kind of talent they were. For some reason, many reasons, that didn't work out. But it doesn't make me think about them any differently than I did when they were young players, like I was just trying to make it work. Good guys who got on the wrong side, and I've seen them recently, and they seem to be in great health and good form, and that's the most important thing.
Also, how are you able to make the book, and how also, what was your mindset before you actually were able to make a book about it?
Well, I think that this is my 30th year either being in a uniform or a suit in the booth. And you just meet so many people, and the process of it is on the road. I have so much time off before the game that I just would write down these stories. And how it came to be is that once you write down one story, it reminds you of another story of someone else you knew. And once those things started happening, then it starts to take form. And then you start to think maybe you can get a book out of this. And it ended up with a lot more stories than I needed, but it was fun to do it anyway.
Well, we're talking to Ron Darling, and it's kind of last licks here as we let him go. Obviously, very busy schedule. We were extraordinarily lucky for him to give us a couple minutes. Obviously, not your first book, but maybe getting close. I mean, Game 7. It was just a fantastic trip into that moment. But for me, this book is just sort of touching. And the same way, just the stitches of the people you've met in your life, one story reminds you of another. One story hit me in particular, and it wasn't even a crazy story about it. Frank Viola, you're very well connected with, and it just popped in my head because I went to school with his niece, Heather, and I remember asking her all the time about him. But yeah, one of the greatest college games ever pitched between you and he. So, I mean, that was one of the stories that jumped out at me that I'm unintentionally intertwined with Ron Darling. So it's actually,
there you go.
It's great for the reader.
If I'd have known that, I would have made it 109.
So I'm just saying, I think that's a wonderful part about this book, how it really can captivate and include the reader. It's a hard thing to do, and you nailed it brilliantly. I guess my last thing is, you've met Mickey Mantle. What was that, as a Yankee fan personally, just to, you know, what was your experience like meeting Mickey?
Well, it's like meeting royalty. It's like meeting a demigod. You know, it's just that, you know, the Yankees from yesteryear were just, you know, great every single year. That's what you heard of. I was a Red Sox fan, so, of course, got to see the Yankees and the Red Sox a lot. And it was just, you know, an honor to hang out with them and to have a moment in the sun with them. And, you know, I tell it in the book, but I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Now, Ron, my last question is honestly one of my favorite things that the Mets have done, also coming from a Yankee fan, by the way, is obviously the news about Tom Seaver and what the Mets did. Very, very classy in my mind. This is one of my favorite stories, is that, and honestly, things that came to fruition, is that they honored him, basically, and what he's done for the organization by renaming Citi Field, the address that it is playing on, at 41 Seaver Way. I just wanted to get your thoughts of Tom Seaver and what the Mets did.
Well, you know, Seaver is the franchise. You don't get a nickname like that unless you're one of the most special people that ever played the game. And he changed that team from lovable losers to teams that had a lot of fight and won. The impossible dream of winning the World Series in '69, which was their first winning season. There's just so many reasons that I don't know. Like, I know in today's world, that, you know, there's a lot of money to be made by corporations to name your ballpark, and I think Citi Field is such a beautiful place. But if I were a Mets fan, I would call it the Seaver. So 41 Seaver Way is the first start toward it. Once they get a beautiful or likeness of Tom, sculpture out in front where people can take pictures and meet each other before they go into the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, the better, because you can't get enough Seaver when you're talking about this organization.
Ron, thank you so much for a couple minutes. Ron Darling, everybody. Will you be still doing the game today, or is this you're kind of going around going to interrupt with that?
Yeah, no, I brushed off Gary and Keith today. I'll be like you guys, watching the game on TV, okay?
And we will absolutely look for your return soon. Ron Darling, everybody, author of The Complete Game, author of Game 7, 1986, and now 108 Stitches. We thank you for your time, Ron. Thank you so much for a few minutes. Wow. Amazing. Ron Darling on our air with us. This was incredible.
That was cool.
He was kind of the Terminator for a few seconds.
Yeah, he was. We had, I mean, wow, you get a lot of
honor.
Yeah, you get a lot of the book. I think everybody in this room has goosebumps at the moment. But Ron Darling touched our air here on WHPC Sports Talk, the color broadcaster for the New York Mets on SNY and Picks. Just joined us. You'll be hearing that interview from us a lot. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to compose ourselves, and we're going to continue this show. You're listening to WHPC Sports Talk. I'm Nick. It's Eric. It's Ross. It's Dan. It's you. Right here on 90.3 WHPC.
Okay. Yo. Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing.
Check it out.
Check it out.
We're talking about, someone's choice of a food item that they use to use it as a weapon. So, Florida man yesterday smashed his wife in the face, right?
Nice.
With a Taco Bell burrito.
This man's a legend.
Causing some to go up into her nose. According to police, who arrested the suspect on a domestic battery charge.
He better have said something cool right before throwing it. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Live mas.
Yeah, live mas.
Live mas.
Live no mas.
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. Yeah. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
You gotta keep them separated.
You gotta keep them separated. We're back! Live from the studios at WHPC HD. You're listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. And I gotta tell you, not only having Ron Darling on our air live, an interview with one of the great Met legends.
One of the best broadcasting team in sports, by the way.
I think the best. We listen to a lot of baseball here.
Broadcasting team in sports.
I think him, Keith, and Gary do an unbelievable job. Unbelievable job with that broadcast. You're listening to the WHPC Sports Talk, folk. And I'm joined in studio alongside Eric Fischettit.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm still composing myself.
Ross Levine.
Hi.
And Dan Morales.
You know who it is.
You can follow Eric on Twitter at Sergeant Fish and Instagram on Fish5710. Ross Levine, you can follow on Twitter at Ross DeBoss. I don't know how to spell it exactly. Probably just Ross the Boss.
Ross DeBoss.
444?
131.
131. See, I'm getting closer.
Close
and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel Morales on Daniel Molo _
You know who it is.
and me, Nick Ohrnberger, at Nick Ohrnberger on Twitter and Instagram. Can't believe it wasn't taken. Please give our Sports Talk Twitter a follow. That is WHPC Sports Talk and WHPC Sports on Instagram.
Come on.
We're begging here. Wow. So Ron Darling, and also one of the funny things about today, one of the hardest days to source actual sports news because it's April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
And we keep on seeing this fake stuff pop up on Instagram and Twitter.
What got you today?
I actually wasn't really on Instagram that much. That
Lucky
news
you.
happened.
I got getted. I think what got me was I think I saw an Odell Beckham Jr. trade back from Cleveland to Giants. At first I saw it and it was like, wait, what? No way.
Yeah, because if that happened, you know that I would have been freaking out.
Oh my God, I would have already had the text from Eric. So I did see that.
You know the Browns acquired Eric Murray from the Chiefs?
Yes, I did. Eric just showed me that. Thank you for breaking that, Dan.
The Browns traded Emmanuel Ogba to Kansas City in exchange for Eric Murray.
Well, there you go. Hey, listen, we're trying to replenish after, there's a lot of things to fix over in Kansas City. There really is. Now, let's get right into, I think, what obviously is the big news. The tournament over the weekend was interesting, to say the least. So, I don't know if you guys want to start with Duke or the Purdue-Virginia game.
We can start with everything.
Duke.
I'd
all
rather
the brackets got ruined when UNC lost.
Yeah.
Duke
you know
lost.
what? Yeah.
That was crazy.
I feel like...
If we really want to go all the way back is when UNC lost to Auburn.
Yeah, how did that happen? They got smoked.
But guess what? Auburn's nice. They beat Kansas.
They don't have their best player,
They beat Kansas. They beat UNC. And who'd they just beat? They just beat... Who did Auburn?
Auburn?
North Carolina.
They just beat North Carolina.
No.
They beat North Carolina. I'm sorry.
North Carolina. Then they beat Kansas. Then they beat one more team. I forgot who it was. I forgot that I literally just played. I feel like.
Well, don't worry about it.
But they beat the top three teams in that
region.
In that region.
I get it
as the 5 seed.
But what we're seeing is a great coaching job. We're seeing an incredible team effort. You can't find really a single star on that not necessarily. I don't look at anybody on the Auburn squad right now. I don't see a single
they just beat Kentucky.
Right,
Kentucky. Yeah,
a surefire.
That's a badge of honor right there. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, that's huge.
It's Auburn's,
huge.
It's Auburn's first Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles Barkley's happy.
Charles Barkley is, I mean, this dude was talking about it before this tournament even started, that he had a lot of faith in him.
And then we're like, okay, Charles.
Okay, Charles, sit down. But Charles is, who is absolutely right. This team has the goods. They can, everybody's evenly matched now. I don't see a single team that stands shoulder upon shoulder against anybody else. I don't.
Neither do I.
I don't know about you guys. I don't see Virginia running away with this. I don't see an Auburn taking it just rough shot to the end.
I think it's Michigan State.
I think Winston and Michigan State, the job that Izzo has done with that team, this is his entrance to stardom as among coaches. Izzo, we all know he's a great coach.
No, if anything, it's the old guard.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's the old-fashioned coaching style, the thing that everybody got mad at. You did it like that stupid thing. You're poking somebody in the shoulder. You screaming in his face.
Yell them.
That's the old coaching style. I would want to be coached that way.
I would too. And he has gotten a lot of crap, but I really feel like he is going to, with a national championship, he can take his place among the best coaches in the NCAA right now. He's already there, but more of a national, get to that Jay Wright
Coach
status.
K level?
Yes.
Coach K, Roy Williams level?
And be on that new wave of great coaches like a Jay Wright over in Villanova. So I really think they're right there. I really do.
They just beat a starred-out Duke team by a point because RJ Barrett missed a free throw.
And honestly, you put yourself in a position to win that game. Mm-hmm. I don't look at it like a lot of people are looking at it, that Duke lost that game, Michigan State didn't win it.
No, Michigan State was there throughout the whole game.
It was an awesome game.
It
was a great game.
I heard that narrative a lot.
This is somebody that's a Dookie, by the way. That was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was a great.
That was an awesome game.
I love watching that game. I'm not a Duke fan, but I had Duke winning the tournament. I'm not gonna lie, in my bracket, and that ended. But
I feel like everybody picked Duke. Everybody fell in love with Zion and Barrett and Reddish. They're the top three prospects.
I mean, a lot of people also hated on that too. Hated on that at the top three prospects 1-to-1 school. Hated that Zion was so good. Hating that RJ Barrett was good too. They didn't like.
That's something that you have to note, Dan. They're all freshmen.
Yeah, they're all freshmen. They're all 18. They're all my age.
That's crazy.
Isn't that?
They're
my
age.
I don't want to hear that. Okay, I am a 30-year-old man.
Yeah, that just spit
and that just drooled all over himself. That
You're 30 or 80?
Well, I'm drooling because we did just interview Ron Darling right here on WHPC Sports Talk. Shameless plug. Hashtag shameless plug.
Not shameless. Hashtag strive for greatness. That's LeBron.
Right. Yes. Let's make sports talk great again. Now, we have a lot to talk about. A breakdown with the tournament. The Purdue-Virginia game.
Great.
I have never seen a greater game and so horribly in my entire life. First of all,
I felt so bad for Edwards.
I do too, but hear me out here.
Like 40
I think that's a terrible way to coach that end of the game. You have 16 seconds left.
Yep.
Okay? On that inbound. Mm-hmm. And they're playing for the foul. What are you doing? The best play you can run. The best play you can run is to get that ball inbounds and double team their 3-point shooters. You have a 3-point lead. Double team their 3-point shooters, and if somebody wants to go inside, let them.
Yeah.
Let them. What are you doing? I mean, you had guys evenly spacing the floor trying to one-on-one.
They overcoached themselves.
These two shooters were going off.
They were Guy and I forgot the other guy's name, but Guy went off. Guy was going off.
It's insane. And there's no double team. They let him shoot from three, tie the game. We go into overtime. A horrible, horrible oversight. And then the end of the overtime quarter, you get it. That missed pass down the alley. People are getting, was the throw bad? Was the catch bad? My theory has always been if you get your hands on it,
you got to catch it.
Got to catch that ball. I don't care if it's football or basketball or baseball or anything.
He led him to the 3-point line because that's where he's supposed to be. That's where the shot was. That's where he's supposed to be. I think the pass is on point. The pass was not like leaning towards out of bounds. If you took the overhead angle, it was going straight.
They played it over and over again, yeah.
It was going straight because that play was most likely designed, I don't know, was most likely designed to go from, I forgot what his name was, but bounce out to the 3-point line. He hits him in the lead. He catches the ball, catch and shoot, and hopefully it goes in.
Right.
But he didn't get there fast enough. He tipped the ball, it went out of bounds, and they lost the game.
So now we have a
I thought Carson Edwards should have taken the last shot.
I agree. I think a play.
I thought when he was driving, I thought he was going to drive, and can drive to the 3-point line, crossover, comeback, and pop a three while the guy's fading out from the three, and hopefully
didn't happen. Yeah,
it didn't happen. He passed it and went out of bounds. I'm like,
and you saw Edwards' reaction, really, you're not. I've carried us this far,
because he's probably thinking like, I should have taken that last shot, because he carried that team that far. I think he should have taken that last.
I agree, and now we're left with a Final Four that nobody could have predicted. I mean, I had Virginia in my Final Four.
I had Virginia.
I did not have Virginia.
I had
none of these teams in my Final Four.
Well, I went Virginia, Florida State, North Carolina, and Duke. That's where I went. Obviously, it didn't happen.
Oh wait, actually, no, I didn't have Virginia. I had Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's right. You were huge on the Vols this year.
So was I.
You know what's funny? My national champions aren't even playing.
Yeah, but you have Duke, North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
That's what I had. Dan, you had
Duke.
Ross, what was your picks for the your national championship?
I thought I had Duke going. I had Virginia going.
Oh,
they had North Carolina going too, and then I may have had
Gonzaga.
There's probably Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, yeah.
You had Gonzaga. There a lot of people high on them. It was not. It wasn't their year. They definitely weren't a prototypical Gonzaga team, but they definitely had the juice to go all the way. You know what? I looked at them the very same way I was looking at Nova this year. It wasn't a traditional Villanova team.
I wasn't looking at Nova the same way I was looking at. The Gonzaga was a lot better than Villanova.
They're a lot better, but I just mean they're not the level. They weren't ready to compete at this level.
They're not
I think
Villanova,
right? And I don't think I think they'll be much more ready. Jeez, I think they'll be far more prepared next year, coming back hopefully with a few sophomores and make a legitimate run. I think Gonzaga has a lot of juice still. That program in the last 10 years has turned itself around. And Villanova itself, they'll be fine. They're Nova, so we'll see what happens with that.
A great coach.
So we have Auburn, Virginia. I got to know.
Exactly how we predicted.
Yeah, just the way I drew it up. Where does this end off? Is this a tightly contested game? Does the Virginia defense still give Auburn fits, or is their lack of offensive production the nail in the coffin for the final one seed in this tournament?
See, now this is why I love March Madness. This is honestly why I like March Madness a lot, because I have no idea anymore.
Because you know Auburn's going to win.
No, I don't even think Auburn's going to win.
I do.
Honestly, why?
Why? Because I don't think Virginia's going to win.
Oh, wow.
That is the most... I mean, I got to tell you...
the most vanilla answer I've ever heard.
Hey, you asked for an answer. I gave you one.
Yeah, that was, in fact, an answer.
Yeah,
you're listening to WHPC Sports Talk and mindless ramblings of Dan Morales right here on the voice.
Hold on. All right. Auburn is playing with a chip on shoulder, and
Virginia's not. They got knocked out by the 16th seed last year.
Yeah, but they're the 1 seed, not the 5th one, aren't they?
They almost lost to Purdue.
They almost lost to Purdue.
Yeah,
they
almost
lost to the 16th seed too.
But they didn't.
They almost lost to Oregon too. They almost lost to almost every team.
Everyone was high on Oregon this year.
They were the 11th seed.
Okay, stop yelling. Relax.
They were the 11th seed.
Okay.
Everyone's high on Oregon. Doesn't matter. Auburn's the 5th seed. No one thought Oregon's making this far. No one in this room thought Auburn's going this far.
Do you know why? Because they lost their best player.
Yeah,
they're going shorthanded technically.
But they beat almost every. They beat 2 of the top teams in that region without their best player.
Listen, the best team is not going to win March Madness every year. It's the team that can string consecutive wins in a row.
I think it's the team that can dog it out is going to win it this year.
Honestly, I'm still...
The team that has the most heart is going to win it this year, because that's the way it's looking. Texas Tech, think Michigan State all have heart. Virginia has a lot of heart, and so does Auburn. I think Auburn has the most heart out of all of them.
I think it's Michigan State.
I mean, I'm not. I like Michigan State too.
I don't think anybody could say you're wrong.
Who can? I mean, nobody had this Final Four.
No, and I don't think Michigan. I think Michigan State will beat Texas Tech. So,
if it came down to Michigan State Auburn, that is going to be probably better than.
Do you think Texas Tech Virginia will be good?
I think so, but I mean, it's honestly just the appeal of guys that you know, and in terms of March, Tom Izzo is a guy that everybody knows.
Yeah, I think Michigan State's going to make it, and if Auburn makes it, it'll just be a great story.
No, of course it'll be a great story, but it's a great story for Michigan too.
Yeah,
because they've been here before, they've been at this road before, but they haven't gotten over that hump since when?
For a long time.
2000.
Yeah.
They haven't been in this position for a very long time. I remember them getting knocked down round 2 by Florida Gulf Coast, I think it was.
That was
Gulf Coast, I remember
That's
that.
right.
Was that Miles Bridges' year?
I believe.
Don't remember.
Actually, I think he's right. I think that was the Bridges year.
That was the year Miles Bridges was there. Miles Bridges was an animal in college wrestling.
Does anybody see a path for Texas Tech, or is this just kind of Michigan State's tournament to lose at this point?
I
think Michigan State's tournament to lose.
I'm going to have to agree with him. I like Texas Tech. I do think this is going to be close. I mean, I'm not even looking at rankings at this point.
Neither am I.
I'm looking at what have you done so far.
Yeah.
And both these teams have a ton of heart. Dan, you touched on it before. I think it's Michigan State's championship to lose. Honestly.
And we'll cover it more, and we're going to yell at each other about it and get in each other's faces. That almost turned into a new Eric rant. Very, very close there. That we
What, about Michigan State?
Yeah.
I don't even like Michigan State.
But you got a little jumpy about him, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I like the color green.
You should like the color green.
It's a nice color.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
Thanks, Brick.
Brick says you are very welcome.
It's 60 degrees in the Middle East.
I'm very happy to know that. Hey, coming up on WHPC Sports Talk, is it time to panic, Yankee fans? Or can we just chill the hell out?
3 games.
I mean, come on. It's the first 3 days of the year. We're going to freak out, really?
Mets fans are getting excited. What are you getting excited about? Calm down.
Yeah, everybody take a seat.
I know.
They won the World Series. Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, man.
On the pace for 162 home runs.
I know, and he'll get there.
He'll get there, I promise.
I love Yelich. We're gonna be back with more WHPC Sports Talk after a word from our lovely Kim Tracy. Stick around. We'll be right back on 90.3 WHPC.
Loud noises!
Come on, everybody. Let's sing along with Bruce.
Join me, Kim Tracy, for the music of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band on Thunder Road, Sundays at 1 p.m. on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC and on the iHeartRadio app.
Say it again, Eric.
America's sweetheart today, Ron Darling.
You're darn tootin', kid. Right here on 90.3 WHPC Sports Talk. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Technically, it should be Michigan State, too, but that's a different story.
You know whose take we don't have on this is the very one and only Sean Novat, program director of WHPC, who will be joining us in a moment. How excited were you to hear about Ron Darling coming live with us?
You're fired.
All right, moving on.
April Fools. He loves you.
I don't think that's true. But I thought it was a really striking interview. I think we got to some good stuff, some good points. The book.
We'll podcast it after the show.
We will absolutely podcast it. It will be available for download on the Spreaker.com app and online and all this stuff. Wow. That was just really, really cool.
I'm still like I thought that was a dream.
It was. You know what? I am so grateful that we got that opportunity. If you're just joining us, you're listening to WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. It's Eric Fischettit.
Hey.
It's Ross Levine.
Hello.
It's Dan Morales.
You know who it is.
And Nick Ohrnberger here with you. And we're going to take you up to the top of the hour when the legendary Steve K will take over the board.
Legendary Steve
That's
K.
right. We're taking you. That's what I'm talking about. To that 6 o'clock hour. Steve K and Revelations. Do not miss it. He's got a great list of music for you today. I can't wait to hear it. And then later today, we have the Polka Bob Marathon, 7 to 9.
Yeah,
We're doing
marathon.
I am so excited. I cannot wait for that. So I'll be working that. Call in and donate. All proceeds go to WHPC.
The Nick Ohrnberger Foundation for cheap students.
the Nick Ohrnberger Foundation for please give me a career. Now,
yeah, same.
We have
that's a mood.
Yeah, that's Cha Feels.
What?
I don't know. I'm just saying nonsense at this point. You're welcome, Dan.
Stop.
Let's get into the Yankees.
Yes, please.
3-game series against the Orioles. We blow it.
Lost.
Tanaka was good. Tanaka was really good.
Was good.
Paxton was good.
Hap was not.
In a bit.
Yeah, Hap
you just like talking, don't you?
I do.
Okay.
So
Hap wasn't that good yesterday.
Yeah, Hap. This is what I was saying. Hap isn't an upgrade. When we people were like, "Oh, we just signed Hap." No, we re-signed him. The pitching staff didn't get better. It got a little better with Paxton. And we'll see where that goes. But I just look as to me, I'm looking at a glass half empty rather, and I don't think that they came into this season with enough pitching power. I'm not saying that I'm freaking out. It's 3 games. We're gonna be fine. Giancarlo Stanton, 10-day DL. He usually misses
Clint Frazier just got called up, by the way.
Yeah, and
he's not playing today. The guy that they traded for that sent Tyler Wade down, Matt Talkman, he's in the lineup and in left field tonight.
Gotta wonder why Tyler Wade's being overlooked, but Clint Frazier needs to be brought up. He's the obvious
an everyday
choice.
Player.
And we'll get a good look at him. I hope the idea is to play him out there.
I would think tomorrow. I mean, like, he just got up today, so I can understand him not being in the lineup today. Whatever, that's fine. If he's available to come off the bench in like the later innings, do it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see any reason why why they should shy off of it. But
the only thing that is not alarming, but it's concerning.
Okay.
Gary Sanchez throwing at second.
That's
Every
really
throw
concerning.
that he has thrown has bounced and has missed.
And it's been an error, too.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only thing that's concerning me right now. Everything else is kind of not like status quo. I mean, the season just started. It's not fair to call anything status quo right now. But out of everything that's going on right now, the pitching, I kind of expected it to be rusty. I kind of expected Happ to be rusty, but I didn't expect that. That was just ridiculous.
I thought it was I think we're kind of all on the same point. I didn't think we're going to see that poor of a performance right off the bat.
I mean, also, but the positive, you got a good start from Tanaka, and you had a pretty good start from Paxton. And so
Paxton did not deserve to lose.
Yeah, so
definitely not.
So 2 of the first 3 pitchers pitched actually pretty decently.
We do have
pretty good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we do have a caller on the line. So, caller,
identify yourself to the world.
Oh, nice interview, guys. What can I do?
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Thank you. And Dave, we want to thank you personally. Dave from Franklin Square calling in right now. For joining us live at the Millers event. If you missed it, just this past Friday, we did opening day for Yankees and Mets prep on Thursday. And it was a really fun time. Miller's Ale House did a great job. They really hooked us up with
very, very fun. Check out our Instagram 903 WHPC for pictures.
Yes, there's plenty of pictures of that, and basically
spitting
just
out food.
I was spitting food everywhere.
Enjoy the zingers.
But we did get Dave live with us for a segment on the Yankees. I thought that was a lot of fun. So, Dave, thank you so much.
I want to thank Dan for relinquishing his seat.
No problem, Dave.
I honestly mean that. That was not. You had to leave for something else. You should have told me to cool my heels, and you could have. Well, whatever. But like I said, you can always put me on the back burner, guys.
No. We want you right. We want you leading off,
front and center.
I want to give you a laugh. I gave some money on the Friday show.
Okay.
You know what I got tickets for?
What's that?
The Queen Symphony and Weird Al Yankovic.
Nice.
Weird Al.
Man.
I love Weird Al.
Weird Al Yankovic, absolute treasure. I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan of Weird Al.
Yeah, but they're playing together.
Oh,
okay. That's actually kind of an odd pairing, no?
Yeah,
that's so strange.
I got 2 tickets for $30. Obviously, it was a donation. Then my son looked it up, and the tickets are going for $92 each now.
Huh?
I mean,
it's a good deal.
Everything's relative.
It sounds really interesting to say the least. Patrick Mahomes, what do you think? All right, he doesn't. So, what's on your mind? What's on your mind, Dave?
This Yankee start. I'm running around the kitchen with scissors. I'm telling you, I'm not really. Pretend you're in Boston. And you're looking at that starting pitching.
That's my point. That's my point. They've done nothing to improve this.
Wait, hold on, all of you. I mean, come on. Like, you got to remember, there are still injuries out there, and the Yankees are suffering from injuries now. Not an excuse, it's just a fact. They're suffering from injuries right now. Severino's on the shelf. Sabathia's on the shelf right now. But we can expect that. No, but it's starting pitching.
It's all good. Just accept it.
What?
Injuries happen.
I know injuries happen. I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's just a fact. You don't have your proposed ace in the rotation right now. Mm-hmm. It's hit or miss depending on what you think of him as a pitcher. I think he's pretty good. I mean, I'd like to think he can be the ace.
Obviously, you want to have hope in your players. Obviously,
yeah, but it's track record. He's been shaky a lot of the time, but you just have to hope that he can be the ace. Tanaka, as currently constructed right now, he's the ace.
Yeah,
and he had a very good start.
He did have a very good start.
But again, we're like 3 games, about to be 4 games into the season.
I know.
And listen, just fun, nice little fun fact: the Yankees, the Astros, and the Red Sox, who were all in the postseason last year, are basically have the same record right now. They did not do well in their first series, so just take it with a grain of salt. Look at where the Mets were last year at this time. They were incredible.
And we're doing great right now, which is probably not going to be the same later. So don't
exactly,
worry about
but that's what I'm saying. But just take everything with a grain of salt right now. But a good question to ask right now, if you're a Yankee fan, when is it okay to be concerned? So Nick, I ask you, when is it okay to be concerned?
End of May. Be concerned about this team at the end of May if it still looks bad.
Okay, Dave, what about you?
Absolutely. I mean, come on. And again, you can always pick up pitching, in July when teams that are out of it.
You can pick up pitching right now. There's a guy in the league. Maybe you heard of him, Dallas Keuchel.
I don't think they're going to get him, honestly. No. What about Gio? Gio is in the minors right now for whatever reason. Yeah. Domingo Germán's pitching tonight. Is Gio better than Domingo Germán right now?
I don't know, but I trust him more than I trust Domingo Germán.
The only reason why I see not Germán, Gonzalez in the minors right now is because he signed late. That's it. So, and the Yankees are giving him until April 20th, Gonzalez, for a chance to be like, all right, you can declare yourself a free agent on April 20th if you're not on the Major League roster, which is pretty good. But if you're not on the roster by then, there's something wrong. Either Severino came back, Sabathia came back, and they're otherworldly, or they're still out, and, they're kind of like settling for a Loaizaga, a Sessa, who actually pitched well yesterday, mind you. I think Sessa was actually kind of underratedly good yesterday. You just got to remember, I think the Yankees are kind of scared to go out of the box right now. I really do. Yep. Which makes you think of Chance Adams, as in why he hasn't gotten a shot yet.
It's concerning.
Eric, one thing, only because and again, I don't want to jump on my age, there was a show way back when, and one of my favorite characters was Jack Webb, who played Detective Friday.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Eric sounds... Eric, you got to listen. You can put it on YouTube or whatever. You sound exactly like Joe Friday when you say facts.
What show is this from?
The name of the show was the original Dragnet, and his name was Sergeant Friday. His real name was Jack Webb.
If I... honestly, I'd be lying to you if I told you I've heard of it.
Okay.
I have, but I'm going to find this and play it so we can compare. Wait, what word does he sound alike to him?
Well, his delivery is sharp in the sense that when Sergeant Joe Friday talked to the bad guys, he was direct. There was no messing around. He got him when he said, he said, and his favorite line was just, "What's the facts? What's the facts? Give me the facts. What's the facts?"
Oh yeah, exactly.
I feel like I've heard of it. I don't know. I really don't.
Well, hold on. We're gonna hear it.
In your pocket.
Nope, we're not getting it right now. As soon as I
tell you, young fella, I don't know what's bothering you, but whatever it is, we're going to find it out and get it through your head. You're in a bad spot. If you're not interested in helping yourself, then neither am I. Now the monkey's on your back. You're going to have to help scratch it off. Now get with it. What's it all?
He does sound like his delivery a little like Eric Fischettit.
Well, when they make Dragnet 2, you're in.
There it is.
I got to ask my dad if this is a compliment.
Hey,
it is. I told you.
What's the matter with you, kid? It bother me.
I know.
You know what? It's funny. I was forced to watch the halftime of the NCAA. All the halftime was talking about was referees' calls and 3-point plays.
Yep.
Apparently nothing happens in the middle. It was amazing.
And you know what I hated? All of this Zion love. They kept on just all game long just yelping about, oh, Zion, what a great play. It was he made good plays. None of them, they're so enamored, but there are other people playing this game.
You remember, like Barrett
and
Reddish?
Do you know why? It's because he's the name that's going to make you money.
I get it, but it just seemed like that.
You shake your head, Eric, but it's true.
No, I know. I'm shaking my head, be like, yeah, you're right, like that kind of thing.
He is a good player. I think he has potential to be a lot better than what he is. I think he's like he could be shaped when he goes to the NBA. In my opinion, I think he's not the most NBA ready as people think he is. But I think he could be a little. I think
he can play right now.
I don't think he's generational.
No, I think.
Yeah, he's not Saquon Barkley. Relax. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh my God,
he's not. He has to get better from 3 also a little bit. He's not.
Yeah, he has to work on a shot.
Okay, but he's also 6'7", 280 pounds. He's supposed to be in the middle for a reason. He doesn't need to be a 3-point shooter. That's the problem.
What is his position?
That's the problem with today's game. I think he should be playing in the paint, where he got most of his points from in the tournament.
So like a center forward?
I think he should be a power forward.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, the way the NBA is now, it's about
three-point shots.
3-point shots. So he has to get better at shooting threes. That's all I'm saying.
He came a generation too late.
Dave, do you think he speak specifically Zion Williamson? Do you think this is a generational talent we're about to see take the league by storm, or is this a guy who
he hasn't got an NBA body? He's got to fill out. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, kind of, we said the same thing about Giannis. Giannis was a twig when he came in. Look at him now.
Kevin Knox.
The guy's not, well, I'm not looking at Kevin Knox like that right now. I mean, like, he just got here. Let's see how he is in a couple of years. Honestly.
I'll let you finish up. I got one good one for you.
Sure.
An NFL end zone is 10 yards deep, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you ran from one end zone, the back of one end zone to the back of the other end zone, I'm not being insulting, it's 120 yards, right?
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah.
What else is 120 yards?
Do you actually want me to answer?
I don't know. Yeah. What is 120 yards? I don't know. Lacrosse field? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yankees right field porch.
Once around the bases.
He's right. Yeah, 30. That's true. 30 feet.
30
boom,
feet.
boom, boom.
Yep.
Well, you're learning something.
Or not 30 feet. You knew what I meant.
Yeah, college learning, huh?
It's going a long way, apparently. 90 feet, which makes 30 yards. I'm an idiot.
I was never good at math.
Oh, man. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, as always. And we salute you with a little...
Dilly.
Thank you so much, as usual, my friend. We'll catch up with Dave very, very soon, I'm sure. Dave from Franklin Square. When we get back, maybe a little more Yankees talk. But let's talk a little Mets. Let's go around baseball. Let's figure out who has the upper hand right now in their divisions. And, who's kind of crapping out
Let's
already.
Figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, let's figure out these things. You're listening to WHPC Sports Talk. It's Eric, it's Ross, it's Dan, it's Nick, it's you. We'll be back right after this on 90.3 WHPC.
Shake off the realities of the day, broaden your musical horizons, and embrace the diversity every Monday evening at 6 on Revelations. The show offers a potently unique collection of music with an emphasis on themes and rock rarities, an occasional tour de force of blues and soul, mixed with compelling sets of folk and folk rock. I'm Steve K, and I've got the perfect soundtrack for your drive home every Monday evening at 6 on Revelations, right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
I think I just figured something out. This sucks. This sucks more than...
You're welcome for that, everybody. 90.3 WHPC.
You used it out of context.
I know.
That was mine.
You're welcome.
Crazy.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Eric has been a darling to me. By the way, speaking of darlings, Ron Darling was joining us earlier in this show. We got to interview the man, the myth, the legend, the author of 108 Stitches, live on WHPC. So as soon as this show is over, go right to Spreaker, download the podcast. We will be putting it up immediately. Ron Darling was with us.
Well, maybe not immediately, but we'll get to you as soon as
But Eric is a darling.
He'll be there.
Eric's a darling because he keeps putting in fun new drops that I keep finding that I'm thrilled. This is going to be like our own drop collection. We're going to have thousands of these.
Yeah. My favorite is, a live reaction of when I think of something's funny.
No, my favorite
What is your live
bottle.
reaction of that?
It's kind of close to where you saw that. It's kind of one of the most obvious ones.
Oh, when you think that something's funny.
Yeah. These are my thoughts.
Well, I don't know what your thoughts are. Didn't work, buddy.
You pressed the wrong one.
I probably did.
No, the other one.
What's the other? This
is America.
That?
No, you idiot! It's Kawhi.
Oh. Kawhi Leonard's laugh is ridiculous.
Oh man, try doing that. Try doing that on the morning show when you make a joke and it flubs. I got Kawhi.
That's probably hilarious. You have the morning show. You said that.
Someone was like, "What is that?"
How many jokes do you flub in the morning, Eric? If you have that as a drop.
So Nick, what are we doing with sports?
Well, listen.
Answer the real questions here.
Yeah, that's right. The pertinent questions in everyday life. What does Eric do when one of his jokes fails? Well, apparently it's just a go. So Yankees.
What a man.
We lose. We've lost to the Orioles 2 out of 3. We're taking on the Tigers. Listen, I agree with you guys that I think that this season it's too early to panic.
Come on now.
But at the same time, You just lost the 3-game series to the Orioles. We have the Tigers coming up. There's nothing about the Tigers that I say the Yankees shouldn't sweep the team. They should sweep the series.
I don't get nervous until I would say middle of May, probably.
The only reason I'm going to say it does matter a little is this 4-game series against the Tigers matters. Okay,
you know what it is, though,
and this 3-game series coming up after that against the Orioles matters because listen to where they're headed after this: Yankees at Houston. Yankees in Boston, Yankees in Chicago with the White Sox, then the Royals. That's not an easy schedule.
Honestly, White Sox are going to be a fun game, but Ross, you go first.
I was going to say I'm a little concerned when you lose to a team like Baltimore. Because last year they lost the games against Baltimore, and that's what cost them the division. If you look at the game back differential, the Red Sox were 32-5 against teams like that were awful,
right?
And the Yankees, who weren't bad against bad teams,
they're like
but
500.
They were better.
If not just a little bit more.
They were a little bit more, but you saw like 8 games, and the difference was like 8 or 9 games. So if you looked at the division last year, it was predicated on how you would face bad teams. So that's a little concerning, but it's only 3 games.
I think that was such a beautifully illustrated point. How you play bad teams matters.
Honestly, I was going to echo that point. I was actually going to say what you were going to say. But Yankee fans specifically, not even just baseball fans, Yankee fans that watch this team a lot, basically every day, or just, every day. We're looking at what happened last year against the bad teams like Baltimore, and we're seeing, them struggle. While meanwhile, you get guys like Boston that tears up the Orioles all the time, and the Blue Jays, and the Tampa Bay Rays at the time. And meanwhile, you got the Yankees who are very well intact with winning this division. Then they sure can. I think it's going to be a 2-way race between Boston and New York. You guys are weird, honestly, but
we're having too much fun over here.
Yeah, I get it. You're just playing nice with the camera. Relax. What do you think they do? You think they do that?
They got my good side. Calm down.
Yeah, well, I always have a good side.
I'm not aware you had a good side.
Oh wow.
Yeah, sick bird, Nick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically, just to echo Ross's point,
play the quiet laugh.
You need to. Don't tell them what to do. And besides,
my
that's
soundboard, buddies. I'll play the quiet laugh when I want to.
But yeah, basically, what Ross's point was, you have to be bad teams to be in contention a lot of the times. Yes, these games don't matter right now, but they're going to matter.
They're going to matter.
Because it piles up.
Every game matters.
Every game matters. It piles up. Boston got off to a really good start last year, and it basically seemed like they never let down. Even if Judge doesn't get hurt last year, Boston was going to win. Boston was going to win the division the whole time.
Yep.
They were amazing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You added J.D. Martinez. They were amazing. It was awesome.
Historically great.
Historically great. Then at the deadline, you add Nathan Eovaldi, who all of a sudden turns into Roger Clemens. I don't know how, but they were amazing. Like, better. They were better after the deadline, I mean, he did. I don't get it. He mowed down the Yankees like 8 scoreless innings for whatever reason. That was the Chance Adams game.
That was the Chance Adams game.
He mowed him down. I'm like, what the hell is going on? That was after, Bird was like, kind of like extremely inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like one day he hit 2 home runs and you play Voit, he goes off, and then Bird comes in and is like, I forgot how to baseball. So
I forgot how to baseball.
Listen, it's gonna look too early for both teams. Mets. I guess my final sentiments on it are: Mets fans, calm down.
Hey.
Your team isn't that good.
Yes.
I'm sorry, they're not going to win every single series. So you're not going to have 120 game win Mets. You're not. They're not going to win this division.
I understand.
The goal needs to be keep in play
make the wild card. Make the wild card. As Mets fans getting all excited about their winning series against the Washington Nationals.
All 4 games in.
Yes, we got the Marlins next. I understand. Marlins are a team that I think we should beat. We should sweep them.
They give you trouble all the time.
But
double trouble.
They're the only team that I'm like, we should beat them, but we always lose.
Do you like their jerseys, by the way?
The Marlins jerseys?
Yeah, I actually kind of like them.
I mean, the jerseys, they're pretty interesting. I mean, I would definitely have bought Christian Yelich Marlins jersey, but he's not there anymore, so.
Yeah, but you're also a Mets fan, and you wouldn't do that, right?
That's very fact.
Well,
that's like me getting a Mookie Betts.
it is like you, and please don't.
I did at one point.
Oh, God.
Not Mookie,
Mets-
just when I was younger and I wasn't sure like what kind of fan I was. I had Red Sox stuff, I had Yankee stuff, I had Mets stuff, I had Angels, Minnesota
What kind of
Twins.
household are you growing up in where they're getting you both the Yankees and Red Sox stuff?
They didn't know what I liked, so they got me whatever. Then I chose I was a Yankee fan, I got rid of it.
Who encourages their kid in New York to be a Boston Red Sox fan?
A kind of parent
Oh,
that
they
lets
would
your kid
crush.
choose. How about that? How about a kind of parent that lets your
booing.
kid choose? I'm not a Red Sox fan.
Well, I didn't say you were, but I am not happy with your parents right now.
It was just one of them. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. You're going to have to figure out.
You're not going to throw him under the bus.
Throw them.
No, you said him.
No, I did not.
It was definitely your dad.
No, it wasn't.
It was definitely your dad. I got a feeling it was your dad.
No, it wasn't.
It was your dad.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was.
It wasn't,
Well,
honestly.
I'm not going to, ever. Even if there's a fire.
I'm not calling him dad.
I am calling him dad. Then
All right, it's time to wrap up. All right, as we finish up today, a historic day in WHPC Sports Talk history. Ron Darling joined us. That podcast will be up, both of this show and the interview on its own, in the next 15, 20 minutes. Run along to Spreaker, pick that up, listen to it, download it. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. With that said, Eric Fischettit, what are your final thoughts at the 2-minute drill?
So, the Toronto Maple Leafs make their trip to Nassau Coliseum again. They are currently right across the street. Game time will be in an hour, I'm sure. Now, I'm looking on the Instagram, and I'm looking at a very wonderful sign. As we know, today is April Fool, so this great Islander fan wrote, John Tavares, Toronto's April Fool. And I give you a ton of credit,
at the Islander
sir.
game when they clinched the playoffs. It was a great game.
Yeah, good for you. Nice.
Yes,
Great game.
let's remind everybody that tonight against the Maple Leafs, it'll be time to...
Let's do that hockey.
So, let's watch it. Let Islander fans be gentle, please.
No, they're not going to do it.
Ross Levine, what do you got?
Well, first, the Islanders are clinched the playoff. The first time they've clinched at home since 2002. And the second thing is that the Giants still do not have Josh Rosen yet.
Yeah,
don't
all right.
say.
Well, that's going to be it. They don't have him yet, and we all
No, they
saw
don't
that
have
fake
Are
tweet
you
too.
implying that they're going to get him?
I really wish they did. I hope
Okay.
they
You'll
do.
be able to find out by the draft, by the way, April 22nd, 2-hour presentation,
that's when it's gonna
5 to
happen.
7, WHPC
It's gonna
Sports
happen
Talk.
then.
Where?
On draft
Here,
night.
right here, live.
Draft night. It's going to happen.
Well, not draft night, but we're getting a
love it.
2-hour to break it down. Dan, what do you got, buddy?
So since today's April 1st, there's a lot of April Fool's jokes, and my favorite one today was NBA TNT telling Shaq that they ranked him 9th best center all time, and he almost tore up their set.
Who was ahead of him? Do you know?
Hold on, I have it right here. Give me 1 second. So they have Kareem as number 1.
I believe that.
It's a video, so it's gonna keep playing. I don't have the.
It's
actual
definitely like
record.
Willis Reed and Hassan
It's Kareem.
Whiteside.
It's like Alonzo Mourning, Bill Russell. They have a bunch of players in front of him, but Wilt Chamberlain, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon. It's
Okay, well, we get the point.
Alonzo Mourning.
All right, we get the
3 times.
It just
Oh,
came
my
up
God.
on my phone.
It's impossible to hear you talk sometimes.
Jack Skimma. I don't know who this is.
All right, enough of you.
Listen, we got plenty more to come.
Dwight Howard.
but not today.
They put Dwight Howard.
And then Shaq with the seal next to him.
That's hysterical. He must have been losing it. For Eric Fischettit, for Ross Levine, for Dan Morales, and for you, I'm Nick Ohrnberger. I think I speak for everybody in this studio when I say,
Oh, wow.
what a broadcast, but it's time to say,
See ya.
because we are. But don't worry, even though we're going to be back next week, better than ever. Same bat time, same bat channel. Make sure you tip your waitress. Make sure you try the chicken.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more Sports Talk next
I
week.
want some steak.
Live,
Buffalo's
as
good.
usual, on 90.3
Want some zingers.
WHPC.
Let's do that hockey.